There's one nerf in Monster Hunter now that not a lot of people are talking about, and it's the nerf to guarding. It kinda sucks now. I performed an experiment and I compared the different amounts of chip damage taken when blocking with the lance using different builds with different levels of guard. In this video, I will share with you guys what I learned, and the results might shock you. So back in December, Niantic released the first ever balance patch for Monster Hunter Now. They nerfed the Sword and Shield's ability to guard attacks, which I completely understand. I was blocking most monster attacks with the Sword and Shield, and with only guard level 3, I wasn't getting any more chip damage. That was unbalanced, and I agree that the Sword and Shield with its tiny little shield should not be able to do that. But the Lance, which has the bigger shield, should have the capability to block attacks with little to no chip damage. But that's not what happened. Now, even with guard level 5, you will still take a ton of chip damage when blocking attacks. The only way to completely negate all chip damage is to perform a perfect guard, a new feature added during the balance patch. That's when you block attacks just before it hits you. Your shield will spark blue whenever you perform a perfect guard. Perfect guard is a great addition to Monster Hunter Now. It feels very satisfying to pull off these perfect guards and see your shield spark blue. But because of this new feature, regular guarding has been nerfed to the ground. No matter how many points in guard you add to your builds, you will still take a ton of chip damage if you don't perfectly block attacks. So I wanted to find out how much chip damage does the guard skill actually reduce. I performed an experiment and I compared the amounts of chip damage taken using builds with different levels of guard. I found out that the Lance is unplayable without any guard skills. I tried fighting a 6-star Diablos with 0 guard, and even if I perfectly guarded the attack, I still took over 19 chip damage. When I failed to perfect guard the attack, I took over 22 points of chip damage. It's like I didn't even block the attack at all. Using a build with guard level 5 against a block Diablos, I was still taking 4 points of chip damage. A very significant decrease, but still very punishing every time we miss a perfect guard. I started the hunt with 32 HP and I ended up with only 19 HP left. It took almost half of my HP even though I was playing great. I blocked all the attacks and I was using the right build with guard level 5. But I still got punished for blocking attacks. So the Lance in Monster Hunter Now is pretty much useless without any guard skills. And even with maxed out 5 points in guard, you still take a ton of chip damage. This result was kind of hard to swallow, so I tested out the guard skill further, this time on a different monster. And to my surprise, against a 6-star Paolumu, guard skills didn't make any difference at all. Against a 6-star Paolumu with no guard skills, I was taking 2 points of chip damage from small attacks and 7 chip damage from heavier hitting attacks. With guard level 1, I was still taking 2 points of chip damage from small attacks, but now only 3 points of chip damage from heavy attacks. Guard level 2 didn't make any difference at all. You still take the same chip damage as having guard level 1. Having guard level 3 did make a small improvement. Small attacks now deal 1 point of chip damage, while heavy attacks deal only 2. Sadly, that's where the benefits end. Having guard level 4 or guard level 5 had no benefits, and I was still taking the same amounts of chip damage as having only guard level 3. So based on these results, there's no point at having more than 3 points in guard. I don't know if this is a bug, but Niantic needs to fix this. I also found out that chip damage scales depending on how much defense you have on your armor set. Using the same build against a 5-star Rathalos, I was only taking 1 point of chip damage. But against an 8-star Rathalos, I was taking 5 points of chip damage. But still, going from guard level 3 to guard level 5 did not make any difference. I was still taking the same amount of chip damage regardless of defense. So it looks like even if you maxed out the guard skill, you will still take chip damage. The only way to completely negate all damage when blocking is to perform a perfect guard. But it takes a lot of practice to be consistent at perfect guarding all the different types of monster attacks. And if you miss the timing, you will be severely punished. Now I can see why Niantic nerfed blocking. It's certainly easier and safer to do than dodging, and they needed a way to balance the risk and reward of blocking attacks by adding chip damage, so that players will still eventually need to use potions. But the amount of chip damage you take is simply too high even after investing in some guard skills. It's so high that it's better to just stick with dodging, because by dodging, you can end hunts without taking any damage at all. Now, Niantic did give us perfect guarding as a way to completely negate all damage and reward players for mastering the weapon. But missing perfect guards is simply too punishing. With dodging, even if you miss the timing for a perfect dodge, you still get to dodge the attack with no damage at all. But with blocking, if you miss the timing for a perfect guard, you will be punished with a lot of chip damage. Now, it all boils down to the high amounts of chip damage players take when blocking. That's my main concern. Because the way Monster Hunter Now's gameplay loop is designed, HP is the most valuable resource. Players need to manage their HP wisely because without it, we can't play the game and will be forced to spend real money on some potions. Niantic has to understand that players will want a way to preserve their HP as much as possible, and taking even a bit of chip damage is already very painful for us. Now I can think of two ways on how Niantic could fix guarding in Monster Hunter Now. It's either they make the timing for perfect guards more forgiving so that players can more consistently negate the chip damage, or buff the guard skill so that it reduces more chip damage. Investing on a build with guard level 5 should reward players by allowing them to block attacks and only take 1 point of chip damage regardless of the armor's defensive stat. I'm a huge fan of weapons with huge shields, like the lance, gun lance, and the charge blade, because personally, I prefer the tank playstyle. It should feel very satisfying to block attacks and counter them, but in Monster Hunter Now, it doesn't feel that way, all because of the high amounts of chip damage. If Niantic will not lessen the amounts of chip damage taken when blocking, then sadly, these weapons will not be viable options in Monster Hunter Now. If you have any more suggestions on how to fix guarding in Monster Hunter Now, be sure to comment them down below. Not a lot of players are complaining about this nerf. I guess there's not a lot of Lance mains out there, but if you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like to support the channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more Monster Hunter Now content. If you're having storage problems in Monster Hunter Now, then be sure to check out this video right here where I give you 5 storage management tips to help you make more space in your item boxes. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.